Good morning, Rowan. It's Tuesday. Let's talk about potatoes. So, these are my front potatoes. You may have remembered them in front of the very first garden bed. We finally moved them over here just because this grass doesn't grow as high, and then it's easier to maintain around the garden beds with them over here. But I got some exciting things going on. Let me show you. I've got flowers. This did not happen for me last year. This is the determinate variety that I planted. This is a blue potato. All the other bags I have are all German butterball indeterminate potatoes. But I really wanted to try this one. And it's got flowers, which I feel as though it should be noted every time they're shown that the flowers and the fruit of the potato plant are poisonous. Do not get excited and eat them. And then also, bug warning if you don't want to see it, but the culprit is chewing on all my potato plants. Now, I know that you don't like touching slimy things like I don't, so I feel that so it should be known that I just picked that whole leaf off and threw the slug on the ground. But that tells me that I need to get some beer traps set in these guys. They're not being eaten up quite as bad. There's another one. As the potato plants we're gonna go talk about up on the hill, but they do have some holes in them, so guess we'll have to set out some more beer traps. But let's go talk about my other potato plants because something interesting is happening. So these potato plants are a hot mess. And as you can see, they're kind of falling over. This one's the worst. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh, is that a ladybug? No, you're not red. So let's talk about this. I'm gonna start this from down here because I think you'll be able to see me a little or hear me a little bit better than when I'm sitting back there. I really got to figure out this audio situation, but more slugs everywhere, just so many slugs. So there's a few reasons that potato leaves can fall over like this, and the main reason is that the potatoes are ready to harvest. But typically when that happens, they also have turned yellow and started to die, and it's very obvious that the plant is saying like, hey, we're ready. At which point, what I did last year, and from what I've heard, you cut all the greens off, or you can leave them and you just wait a few more weeks for the potatoes to finish doing their thing under the ground. But as you can see, these aren't yellow and dead, so I don't think that's it. And there's a couple other options. I don't see any evidence of disease. Obviously there's a lot of holes. There's been a lot of pest activity. I put a beer trap in each one of these bins up here and they caught a lot of slugs things. So there's been a lot of that going on. I don't think there's been so much of it that it's causing the plant to just give up. The next highest probable option is that they just got too tall and they can't stand up anymore, and that could be because of over fertilization. But I fertilized these and the ones down there that I showed you at the beginning at the same time at the same rate, so I'm not really sure why these ones are so different. Maybe because they didn't get as much sun, who knows. It's an experiment. We'll see at the end of the season which grow bags did better. So unless there's something going on underneath the soil, some sort of pest or disease happening there, I think they just got too tall and fell over. But they have been in the ground long enough now that I could harvest them as baby potatoes. So I'm gonna pull these out and see what's going on. I'm a little worried that there's gonna be like no potatoes in there because it's just been all green growth and no potato growth. Hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, let's dig up some potatoes and see what's going on. I'm putting on gloves just because if there is any sort of disease or major pest activity happening underneath here, don't really want to touch that. I also don't want to risk one of my fingernails piercing the potatoes either. So, first steps first. Let's take another sip of coffee. Cheers. And then let's get rid of all these greens, which, yeah, I mean, other than just being eaten up, there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with them. I don't see any fungus, I don't see, I mean, and the bottom of the plant here has started to die back, but I don't think it's enough to explain why everything is falling over. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the German Butterball variety, which I've heard really, really good things about. And it's an indeterminate, so it'll just keep growing. So I did read that these plants get really big, so it could just be that. It could just be that they're too big to hold themselves up. If that's the case, if I find in here that I've got great looking baby potatoes and nothing's wrong with them, the plants are just too big and they're falling over, I'm probably gonna try and figure out some way to help support the other two plants so they can keep growing and grow full-size potatoes. A lot of what I read online when I was researching this was just to heal them up more, to give them more support, which is definitely a great idea and definitely what you do with potatoes, but since I'm growing these in containers, I can't really heal up anymore. I've reached maximum capacity of the bag. So I don't know what I will do to these. These ones have also, yep, I see a few there. They have started to flower as well, and flowering is a sign that you're getting close to harvesting. So again, we're seeing some signs that it's almost time. What's going on with this little leaf here? Those are skulls. I guess not enough to reassure me that nothing's wrong. Let's put it that way. I do have this layer of straw here. Oh yeah, there's so many pill bugs in here. We might not have any potatoes, which is kind of my worry. So many pill bugs. Okay. This is gross. I really am glad that the camera's not close enough for you to see this. And I'm really glad that I have gloves on. I did have this bucket here because I was going to try and save some of the soil, but I just don't know that I'll be able to because there's so many bugs in here. Well, we have some very tiny potatoes. I don't know if you can even like really see that. But the baby potatoes look fine. So I don't know. There's a worm. You can go live over there, buddy. You're definitely nowhere near being ready. But if there's this many pill bugs, that one just didn't. So I definitely need to let those two keep growing because it's not worth pulling up for baby potatoes right now. There's just not. I'm putting more tiny potatoes that still have needed time to grow in this bucket than I am putting potatoes in this bucket. So those need to stay. And maybe I need to put some BT out. That's a rock. Welcome to Tennessee. Put some BT out maybe to tackle these pill. I mean, this bin is covered in pill bugs. Absolutely covered. They are everywhere. It's like they're breeding in here. And I'm not sure why. I mean, I'd rather have them attacking this bag than that bed, because this bag is a lot easier to deal with. Well, there we have it. I don't know if you can see that. Those are my teeny tiny little potatoes from this bag. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little disappointed. I was really hoping they'd be farther along and like almost ready to harvest, so that I could just harvest from these 3 bags starting now, as I needed potatoes, and let the other ones go a little bit longer. Clearly that's not the case. Oh my god, it's so gross. They're everywhere. So I don't necessarily know if I think that the pill bugs are the problem, other than eating the leaves, because the potatoes that I did pull out look fine. They haven't been chewed on. There's no brown spots or evidence of disease in the potatoes themselves. So, but I do know that this many pill bugs and slugs and other things in one container is not good. So I also know the other ones are in a similar state. So yeah, we gotta figure something out. My beer traps are not enough. The beer traps are definitely working for the slugs. They're getting a lot of the slugs. They're not getting nearly as many of the pill bugs. So maybe I need a different beer. Maybe I also need some BT. So leave me your thoughts below. What would you do? I want to let these other 2 keep growing, so that the potatoes can get bigger, but I'm not entirely sure what to do other than supporting. And I'm not entirely sure what went wrong, because like I said, these plants are like 2 times the height, maybe 3 times the height as the other ones. So the other ones have been in full sun the whole time. These are in part shade. So, which they're like right there in front of the camera is where I grew potatoes last year, and they did fine. So they're not very far away from where they were last year, so I thought they would be okay. But right now the only thing I can guess is just that the not getting enough sunlight has caused them to grow more greens than roots. And that is why we have plants that are falling over and very tiny potatoes, because like I said, other than the slugs and the pill bugs, there's no evidence of disease or anything like that. So it's so gross. So yeah, now I kind of want to dig up one of the other ones and see how they compare underneath the soil, but I don't want to waste 2 bags of potatoes. So maybe we'll wait. These, I did the math the other day for this variety and for how many days to maturity they need, and we still have about 3 to 4 weeks to go. So maybe in a few more weeks they'll be starting to actually die back and be done, and then we can look at 2 bags and compare what they were. For now, I need to figure out what to do with these pill bugs because I do not want them getting into my main beds or anywhere else. So I'm gonna go research that. I think I almost let it. There's another one. They're just so tiny. Do you see that? They're just so tiny. I mean, they're about like baby potatoes you would get at the store. So they're a little smaller, but whoop. You can tell they're baby potatoes because I just picked that one up too roughly and the skin just flaked right off. So we're gonna have to eat this one today. But yeah, I'm gonna go do some research on what the heck to do about pill bugs. I think BT, no, not BT. BT? Diatomaceous earth? One of those things, there's something out there that'll get them. So I need to figure that out so I can keep these guys from spreading farther and farther into my garden elsewhere. So that's my potato update. Everything else is growing well. We've got a few flowers on some tomato plants. But other than that, I'm just really hoping this week of sun and warmth is gonna supercharge everything and get it really, really growing. Because right now I still feel pretty darn behind. So we'll see. Nope, can't stop the camera with my gloves on. All right, bye. Okay, I did some reading. Sounds like the mulch was my culprit, and I think because this is in more shade, the mulch was staying damp longer than it is in other areas. So more pill bugs because they love that. So everybody got a dusting of diatomaceous earth with the bag that you sent me for Christmas, right? Birthday, Christmas? One of those. Christmas, I think it was Christmas. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that stops them from spreading. The beer traps that were in those 2 were kind of super nasty. So I am gonna wash those out and put some new down, but yeah, that's that for now. I'm a little afraid to look at my other plants, but none of my other plants are showing major signs of that other than this corn bed here. So I might have to dust with some diatomaceous earth there as well. But for now, I'm just gonna give it a minute and see what happens. But that's what I have for you this week. I hope you have a great day.